And hello everyone. Now this is a little one-off video that I'm doing. I've had a few bands and artists contact me recently asking for tips and suggestions of sending their music up the radio stations, both FM and internet. And so I've compiled a little kind of guide as to what to do, the best way to make your music sort of like up there and heard. Also applies to kind of sending up to websites and magazines for review. And now a quick proviso, a caveat as you will, this isn't going to be guaranteed, so please, if you follow these instructions and you get nowhere, don't sue me. But I'm just putting from my own experience. I mean, I've been radio DJing now for coming up to 20 years. I've been in bands for, oh god, it's coming up to 40 years, and just kind of little tips and things that I picked up on the way that kind of make life a little bit easier for you, the musician, us DJs, etc. That will kind of maybe just help raise your profile and get you noticed a bit. So the first thing is, you've recorded this fantastic demo, or your self-released EP or album, whatever, and you are convinced it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you want to make sure the world hears it. So the first thing you do is you just go and write the BBC, BCFM, Sky Radio, whatever you want to send it to. Stick it in a post. For who it may concern, no. Basically, the bigger the organisation, the more complicated their internal mailing system is. You send something generically to the BBC, it will disappear, and the chances are of it actually reaching the person that will want to hear your kind of hardcore thrash jazz, Latino polka music, isn't going to hear it. You need, and it's preferable to find out who's going to be interested in playing your music. You're a thrash metal band. I'll take on BCFM for example. You're a thrash metal band. You send it to me. You maybe send it to my colleague Andy Fox, maybe Phil Vickery. We're the people that will play that kind of stuff. No point sending it to Desi Rankin, who does the Roots and Reggae show. It's probably not going to interest him. Desi's a nice guy, but his taste in heavy metal is non-existent. Same reason, I'm renowned for not being that much into electronic dance music, apart from a couple of crossover kind of acts. So there's no point in sending me some happy house. I ain't going to play it. So it takes time, but it will pay off in the end. Do some research. Each radio station or magazine you're going to send your music up to, find out exactly who to contact and try and contact them directly. If you can't find that particular person via via the station itself, try going through social media. Try looking at their LinkedIn page, their Facebook page, WhatsApp, whatever, a YouTube channel if they've got one. Contact them via there, because it shows I like it when that happens, because it shows that the artist or the band, whoever, has gone out of their way to find out that, yes, I might be interested, and offer it to you directly, rather than sending it to something that's going to disappear into an internal email system. And also, the other thing to remember is whereas the BBC and that kind of thing are vast monolithic organisations where stuff will get lost easily, even at small stations like BCFM or, where I broadcast, Bristol Community Radio in Bristol, 93.2 FM, we are a small station. We haven't got anyone dedicated to handling mail systems. So until one of these station staff accidentally wanders into the email folder, your email might be sitting in there for months. Contact the person directly. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, quality of music. This is where it will pay to kind of do again, your research will pay back on you. some people will only play like Abbey Road quality, real world studio quality, top notch music. I personally, I can take music with a bit of roughness. I think that if a band's got potential and got talent, it will show through any kind of rough home demo recording quality. So again, try and listen to clips of the shows that you're submitting music to. Not only will it tell you what kind of genres you're into, but also, does that DJ play a lot of demos, or is it just purely, officially released stuff for major labels? Again, it will save you time. It will save you kind of wasted emails, etc. So again, this is research before you even put your press pack together. Who you want to send it to? Will they be interested? Like I said, quality of the music varies because I'm a little bit tolerant of recording quality, whereas other DJs and other stations aren't. So that comes into what have you got? So if you've got I like lo-fi bedroom punk, for example. So you can send me some stuff that you've done on a laptop in your bedroom, whereas BBC Breakfast Show probably won't give you time of day. Now, what do you send? First of all, and this is the most important thing ever, whether you're submitting by email or submitting by snail mail, send music. Now, I do 2 radio shows. I do the BCFM Sunday Rock Show, BCFM FM Radio in Bristol, and the Rock Druid on astroradio.earth, which is a not generic, it's an internet station that specialises in music and science. Now, for my 2 little shows, I can get, on average, it's about 100 submissions a week. Things like the run up to the Christmas releases, festival season, etc. That I can get 300 submissions. That's not 300 songs. That's 300 separate artists sending me music. That's a lot of time it takes to sort through and kind of work out what I can get on the show and where I can get it. I do try and be fair, but I can't cover everything, which is the reason why your music needs to stand out, of course. So you need to send music to make sure I've got it available. Please, please, please never send a link saying, hey, this is our YouTube MySpace Bandcamp channel, whatever. Have a listen. Because, a lot of us have day jobs, a lot of us have kind of other commitments. We're only kind of part-time or even unpaid work on a lot of these radio stations, especially the smaller stations. We haven't physically got the time of day to go through. I mean, I get, on top of the 100 submissions, I get 100 emails a week saying, check out our YouTube. I really do. Not because I don't want to, it's just that, you imagine kind of a load of 5-minute music videos, 100 submissions a week, 500 minutes, that's nearly a day's worth of, well, my massive crap, but that's a long time sitting there watching a load of YouTube videos. I haven't got the time of day for that. So make sure I've got music. You can, if you're sending it, snail mail, a CD in the package. If you're sending email, attach an MP3 or at the very least a link where the stuff can be downloaded, and make it downloadable for free. Not trying to be skinflint. I'm not trying to kind of skivvy out music out of musicians, but bear in mind that if I get 100 submissions and everyone wants me to pay a $5 to download a CD or an album, I can't afford that. So to be fair to everybody, I don't. And not only that, I don't get paid for what the work I do on BCFM. It's a purely a voluntary basis. A lot of small stations, your FM stations, your college radio stations, they are not paid staff, not paid presenters. Even places like Kerrang FM, they're only part-timers, they're not full-time, you know. A lot of the presenters will have other jobs. So, you know, finances aren't tight enough to download everything we're sent. So to be fair, a lot of us turn around and say, you know, I do make exceptions, you know, friends, bands, etc. I'll help out, and if something really blows me away, I'll buy it. But you know, I hear a lot of great music, so it has to be getting impressive to blow me away. And remember that, okay, it will cost you nothing to attach a couple of MP3s or give a couple of downloads, and even if it's going to cost you a few quid or so to send a CD, I get regular feedback from the bands that I play on my radio shows saying, you know, that they've noticed that after a bit of radio play, not only for my show, I'm hastening to add, but for, you know, a lot of stations that have, or shows that have a kind of moderate following, that they'll get a kind of little blip in Bandcamp sales, Spotify plays, hits on their YouTube channel, which they can monetize to kind of get a bit of shekels in that way, iTunes downloads, whatever. A little blip in the sales, may not be many, but that's just feedback from the shows that I do on the 2 stations that I work at. If you sent out to 30 stations and you get a similar kind of response, you know, 2 or 3 sales here, 2 or 3 sales there from every play you get on air, then, you know, that will soon mount up. And, you know, any costs that you've paid out sending out the music, or sending out free CDs or MP3s or whatever, will come back to you. So, yeah. Now, what to send with the music? So I've got my notes over here, so not on that. I've done those 2. Where's my slider bar? There's my slider bar there. Okay, now what to send? First, yeah, the music. Now, physical. One thing I meant to mention: physical or MP3. I'm an old bloke. I love something physical to hold. I love a CD, even if it's only a kind of cheaply burnt off with a handwritten cover. That's something tangible. Although, in this day and age, even this old hippie has to deal with what I call disposable digital formats. So, you know, I don't mind. But if you have an MP3 available, if you have a CD available, send an MP3 first of all, by all means, but always put a little note in saying, I have a CD, do you want me to send you one? And that will then means that people that like CDs, you know, because like I said, a physical something I can hold in my hand helps me remember. I'm getting old, you see. So what else do you put in with your CD? Now, either as email attachments or as email text or as bits of paper or something that you shove in your envelope with your physical copy. Now, the above information. A bio is almost essential. It doesn't need to be long. Just a bit of background information on the band, where you're from, what your interests are. You know, list of any upcoming gigs, any notable gigs you played in the past. Photo helps, not always, but a photo could help. You know, lyrics maybe, something like that, along those lines. Something so that your presenter or magazine reviewer can get a gist on who you are, where you're coming from, and a little bit of background information. Because, you know, yeah, I know there's one school of thought in music publicity that says, be mysterious, let the people do their own work. It doesn't work. People are lazy. I'm not being disrespectful to anybody on this, but, you know, if I play 2 bands and you like them both, and band A, I turn around and say, well, that's Eddie and the Morons, they're from Chesterfield, and you know, they got a gig coming up at the Fleece and Firkin in Bristol next month. You're going to remember that. If I go, that's Eddie and the Morons, they're from Chesterfield, and that's Eddie and the Morons, and I can't tell you anything else about them, you're going to forget them. You're not going to go on the internet and do the digging yourself. I might try and do a bit, but like I said, time constraints. Over my 2 radio shows, which I do a week, which is 6 hours of radio, 3 hours live, 3 hours pre-recorded. You know, for every track I play, you know, which can cover sort of like 70, 80, 90 songs over the course of the 6 hours, every track that I play, you know, needs a little bit of research to go with it. And I haven't really, you haven't really, because sometimes when you're on the fly in the studio especially, you haven't really got time to go through all that. So you can save your DJs and your viewers a lot of time by just sticking a few notes in your press pad. And most importantly, in your press pack, do not write checks that you can't cash. I get a number of bands that send me stuff that say, we are Eddie and the Morons, we're out of Chesterfield. I hasten to add Eddie and the Morons from Chesterfield, or just something I've made up for the purposes of this video. And if there is a band called Eddie and the Morons from Chesterfield, I apologise. But we are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, the classic one I had, well, I'm not going to mention the band's name, a band from the Northeast sent me a press release, and the press release was going on about how they were the greatest band ever to come out of their hometown. How even you know, some fairly famous bands for them are nothing compared with what they are. They are the future of rock music. They are this, that, and the other. You know, they are all the best instrumentalists ever. And I played it, and it was a bog standard Biffy Clyro, you like, boring kind of, not even very imaginative indie rock. And then when I was doing a written review for this one at the time. When I gave them a written review, they didn't like the fact that I pulled them up on their checks they can't cash, and yeah, because they were bloody generic, and they sent me death threats, yeah, and got their fans to kind of spam my email box with kind of threats of physical violence. Lovely people. But I'll come on to the fallout from that particular incident later in this video. So yeah, don't cash checks you can't write. Be honest. You know, by all means, if you had some good reviews from your local rag saying Eddie and the Morons played at the Duck and Dilemma the other week and they were particularly good, you know, include a quote from that. That's cool. That's expected. But, you know, verify any kind of big ups that you've had. And I said, keep it honest, because, like, you know, we deal with a lot of music. Like I said, I get 100 submissions a week on average. I deal with a lot of bands. I have a couple of standalone hard drives over there with literally tens of thousands of bands that have sent me stuff. And, you know, so therefore, I know whether you're unique or not. So keep it honest. Then, I say we got your band basic press release, a bit of a biog. Yeah. Now I want to have a quick word about bribery. Now I'm not talking about the American payola system that kind of so beloved of Alan Freed and those American 1950s DJs, where record companies will send them vast amount of money to favour their records. That's not only is that illegal in most countries, but it don't wash. Someone sends me a fiver with say, play this, have this. It's going to make me suspicious. However, what does work, especially if you're sending out physical CDs, is something to make your CD stand out from the other ones that will drop through the inbox or drop through the letterbox that week. I'll give you a couple of examples. There's a lovely, great Japanese goth band called Nana. They send me albums every couple of years when they release one. And right from the first one, they've included a couple of Japanese chocolate bars in the package. You know, and I have trouble eating chocolate these days. I'm diabetic, but you know, my missus has them. But it kind of makes me stand out because I remember the Nanas, because I remember the chocolate. Helps the fact with the Nanas, their music is great as well. I had on a bit slightly more notorious incident. I had a few years ago. I had a kind of British stoner rock band, and basically they had all the stuff in the sent me a CD, All the stuff was in the package, but it had kind of something highly illegal rolled in a large cigarette containing something highly illegal included in the package, wrapped up with a note that says, "Smoke this and listen to this." Now, I'm not going to condone taking drugs. Drugs are bad, okay. You know, it's a personal preference thing, and I do know people that have had their life severely messed up with drugs, but I'm not going to. This isn't the time and place to go into the soft drugs versus hard drugs debate. That's for another time. But it's still technically illegal, and I have heard of bands that have tried the same, and the poor DJs at the other end has finally found the packages arrived with a policeman attached. You know, and trafficking drugs through the mail is illegal in most jurisdictions of the world. So don't do it. You know, please. Other things, occasionally I'll get things like this one. This is a t-shirt that was sent to me by a band called Sick Wall. They sent it as a thank you for playing one of their records, but I'll tell you what, it works because it's become my favourite t-shirt. It feels comfortable. And, you know, I now remember Sick Wall because they sent me a t-shirt. So therefore, every time I get a new release through from Sick Wall, I go, Sick Wall, the t-shirt band. So it doesn't need to be anything really expensive. Other examples I've had postcards, a selection of postcards. They're the ones you get from 50p from stationers of the town of a town in Germany where a particular band came from. And a few other things like that. But one quick word of warning: no glitter bombs. That's a big no-no. Yes, they're fun, but I have heard stories of DJs opening parcels on their mixing desk, because you normally have a little workspace on your console where you can write in notes, and a glitter bomb's gone off, and glitter getting into equipment isn't good. And even if I opened it at home, it gets everywhere and it's a mess, and the missus moans, etc. So please, no glitter bombs, but you know, and no drugs, but something little to kind of remind you is a good thing. Pin badges are a really famous one. Or even another band even sent me some branded lip sole. So something like that. So yeah, that's a little bit about bribery. What's next? He says, going over here. Yeah, and label everything. Now, if you're sending a CD and it hasn't got a print, and it's just one you've burnt off on your own, write the band name and the EP, demo, whatever it is, on the disc. If you haven't got a printed inlay card, send a bit of paper with the band name and the track listing. You're surprised, even now I get CDs arrive that are just blank CDs. Play us, and if you haven't sent the other information with you, I've got a CD with music, and the music may be great. I've got a little box over there somewhere of CDs that came without labels. I don't know who the fuck they are. The music's great, but partly for broadcasting regulations, I can't play them because I can't say this is good. Don't know who it is. So yeah, label everything. If you're sending MP3s and you're not got metadata on your MP3, adding metadata is fairly easy. But if you don't know how to do that, then label it with the band name and the track name. So make sure that I know when that's on my inbox, when that's coming up on my playlist in the studio, I know exactly who you are. It will guarantee that you won't get ignored, put it that way, or at least it will guarantee that you'll get onto the potential playlist rather than just ejected out of hand. Like I said, information, dealt with that bit. Another quick thing about sending stuff up is F-bombs and C-bombs. Now, in the UK, I can't speak for other territories in the world, and rules for internet radio tend to be a little bit different from from FM. But FM radio in Britain and in a lot of other countries, I'll take the British example because it's where I'm based, is tied up with a lot of rules and regulations from Ofcom, which is the Broadcasting Regulatory Service. They kind of have, that will tell you what is profanity, what is not profanity. The book is literally about that thick. We have a copy in our studio at BCFM. The book's about that thick, and it talks about what can be played, when can be played. There's even kind of rules about if a royal person dies in the middle of your show, how you should react, kind of thing. And, and basically, a lot of radio stations in Britain don't have a watershed because they have repeats, they have a listen again function. And on FM, F-bombs are frowned upon, C-bombs are a no-no. So, if you're kind of Eddie and the Morons, and you've got a song that's kind of full of F-bombs and C-bombs, it's not going to get airplay, no matter how good it is. Internet stations, depending on things like where their servers are based and the policy of the station, can be a bit different. I mean, I know on Astro Radio I can be a little bit more lapser than I can on BCFM. Not saying that things don't get slipped through by accident, but then in that situation the DJ is running a risk because, not saying I do that, but some DJs will, and they're running a risk because all you need is a couple of complaints about the station and the Ofcom can turn around and say, discipline this bloke or we're taking your licence away. And believe me, if it's one DJ versus the station's licence, there's only going to be one winner, and it's not going to be the DJ. So there's a number of ways around it. Record a separate vocal line using minced oaths. Instead of the one that says, I want to have sexual intercourse with Mama, use the word melon farmer. Mincing oaths, it's not brilliant, but it's a way around swear bands. You can do a cut edit or a bleep edit. And sometimes that can be quite funny and work well in your advantage if your chorus goes beep, 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 woman. Well, whatever, there's another Eddie and the Morons track. There's things you can do like you call a switch edit, where you take the F-bomb and C-bomb and you just cut the audio out and you just reverse that one word. So it goes like, and she was a bitch, or whatever, try not to be sexist on this one, but, that's what I mean, or whatever. Just came to my head. So, I have had some people that have put their foot down and told me never to do that, that's their music. Well then, fair enough, your funeral, your stuff, why did you send me the stuff when I told you I can't play it? And continue to send me stuff when I told you I can't play it. So, yeah, just mind your language, be aware of these rules and regulations, and beware and prepare to work around it, or allow your station presenters to work around it as well. Next thing is being patient. Now, as I said, I am a DJ. I do one small local radio station in Bristol and one sort of like medium-sized international internet-based station shows. On average, I get 100 submissions a week. I'll say on a busy week, like festival season, where everyone's plugging their appearance at Skysphere, whatever it's called, then that can triple. And then other certain weeks, I mean, like someone like a label like Frontiers Records, one of my favourite labels, by the way, or Capulet Records, a great French punk label, will bulk release once a month. So all of a sudden I'll hear nothing from that label, and then I'll get a dozen albums arrive. All's got to be unzipped, processed, analysed, listened, picked, spot listened, etc. So basically what I'm saying is it will take time for whatever you send me to get up the play, to get on get reviewed. I try and turn stuff around within a week or two, can't always guarantee it, and I can't I used to guarantee airplay for most people that sent me stuff. Can't do that anymore because too much music, not enough time. So, what one of the things that annoys me is I'll get an email, and it will have your MP3 on it, and all your information's there. And then 4 hours later, did you get our email? What did you say? Did you get our email? And that'll happen every time. That'll only piss me off. Oh, fuck you, you spam hassling bunch of morons from Chesterfield. What I would recommend is send your email, send your letter, wait a couple of days. And, like I said, I don't always reply to everybody that sends me stuff, purely because, again, not enough time in the day, Sort of like, not only will I get the 100 submissions a week, add on to that another 100 emails or so, if not more, from radio stations, not radio stations, record labels, this, that and the other, magazines telling me what's coming up, general music newsletters that I subscribe to, industry newsletters that I subscribe to. It's a lot of emails to process, especially when you're part-time and on your own. So I can't physically reply to everybody, but I do kind of, if I am going to play you in a show, you will be tagged either just before, just after broadcast, if it's just after, it's with a catch-up link where you can hear what I've said about you. But if you're still worried and you want to know what's going on, leave it a week, and then send a follow-up email, being very nice, saying, "Hello, John. I sent you. Oh, we're Eddie and the Morons. We sent you a couple of MP3s last week. Have you had a chance to listen yet? We're wondering what you thought." That's a far better way, and that will get a better response, because that will, rather than piss me off, that will trigger my memory and go, "Oh yeah, Eddie and the Morons. I'll give them a listen." Oh, yep, got to get them on the next week's show. So patience is a virtue. And finally, need a fisherman's friend here. And finally, and this is, it's a no-brainer, but it does need saying, unfortunately, from time to time. Be nice. Being polite and having kind of the music industry is not competition. I know you had things like back in the 90s, you had the Blur and Oasis, or there was a thing going around, you couldn't listen to Iron Maiden or Judas Priest in the early 80s, big rival bands kind of thing. Metallica versus Winger, sense this kind of hassle. But basically, the music scene is it's not football. We're not in competition with each other. It's an industry that works together, and cooperation is better than antagonisation, and that means taking your lumps. This isn't radio play related. This is a review. I don't write reviews at the moment because I really haven't got time to sit down and actually do them, because I do take a lot more time than doing the radio shows. But I used to do a review blog, and as opposed to what I do nowadays, where I vlog, which is I can do a few reviews in a couple of hours in the afternoon, but I used to actually sit down and type out reviews and a couple of paragraphs. I had and that said band from the northeast of England sent me a demo, and it was a classic example of checks they couldn't cash. They were the biggest thing since Maximo Park. No band out of Newcastle was anywhere near as musically genius as they were. Completely forgetting about the great musical legacy that their area had come from the Animals to the Police to Dire Straits to the Toy Dolls, Maximo Park, and the rest of it. Northeast of England's had a fantastic Venom, etc. A great track record of some really good innovative music. and they sent me a stuff that sounded like a third-rate Biffy Clyro in a cheap studio. I reviewed the album, and I did give them airplay prior to the review coming out. And I said, both when I played the stuff, I mentioned that they were having checks they couldn't cash. I mentioned that both on air and in the review, and said that you know, they're competent, but they're no way as good as what they claim to be. Because if you're going to make great claims, you better have the music to back it up. These guys didn't. So next thing, death threats and hate mail, etc. Thing was, I wasn't the only person to pick up on this. I read reviews in Rock Sounds magazine that said something similar. There was a DJ on Kerrang FM said something very similar. And, you know, the music industry and the radio industry and that, and the magazines, etc., it's fairly small. We do meet each other from time to time. We do kind of, if not physically, our paths will cross online, etc. And I came across a couple of people who write up for Rock Sounds, and I heard from indirectly via another DJ who had been talking, who had had similar experiences with this band, who had been talking to a guy from Kerrang, saying that I wasn't the only one. These guys, because these guys' EP hadn't set the world on fire and no one had brought their bullshit, they decided to slag everybody off, and all the music press was against them, and, you know, I wasn't the only one to get the death threats. Needless to say, you know, life is too short to listen to bullshits from spotty teenagers from Newcastle who can't take a bit of constructive criticism. And believe me, my criticism was constructive, you know. So therefore, I blanked the band. Nearly every other media outlet in Britain, well, could be even Europe or the world, blanked the band, and their career disappeared without trace. Their follow-up EP, I just went straight went into my inbox, straight to the deletion file. Didn't even listen to it. Not going to give them time of day, and not until I get an apology off them. And they haven't apologised. The band doesn't exist anymore. And good riddance. And I'll just hope that the various band members have gone on to kind of learn a little lesson and just be a little bit politer, kinder, more tolerant, and not such arseholes. So yeah, be nice. You know, yeah. And believe me, 90% of the people I deal with in the music industry, because we're all putting it, I may disagree with on politics or sport or whatever, but hey, that's trivial stuff. But because we're all putting in the same way musically, we're all after the same thing, to share great music around, then, you know, most people are kind of pretty damn fine. Just be in the majority, not the minority on that case, on that count, and we'll all get on great. Now, there's one last thing you can do. Seems like a lot of work, and it's quite involved, but there's one other thing you can do. There are companies, reputable companies, that will do that for you. It will cost you a few quid. How much depends on the size of the company, their contact database, how effective they are, etc. I haven't got any prices off the top of my head, but I can give you some companies to look out for. Metal Coffee PR, very good specialist for metal and punk and hardcore, etc. If you're in Canada, Asher Media, really good company. I've got a lot of time and respect for them. Work with them really well. Yeah, they will. In Britain, there's Hold Tight PR, Red Sands PR. There's quite a few of them. Costs will vary depending on how big they are. Some of them will have an open client base. Some of them will have a closed client base that you have to convince them that you're worth working for. But if your music's good enough and they'll take you on, they'll do all this for you. They'll help you with your press releases. They may ask you to provide the text of your press release, but they'll send it all out. They'll make sure your music's packaged up and distributed through their special hidden distribution sites, you know, that these people work through. Sites called Haulix, etc. No, not the drink. This is a separate thing. You know, there's promo jukebox is another one. But these are sites that these guys can do mass distribution through to hit hundreds and hundreds of radio stations and magazines, etc., and reviewers. And all you have to do is send them the basic information, and they'll do the rest for you. It will cost you, but if you're at the point in your career where you're beginning to kind of, you know, get yourself on the bills at largish festivals, and your CDs are sending in the hundreds rather than the tens, or your downloads or whatever, then that might be a more cost-effective and time-effective route for you to go down. So, I think that I've covered all bases, or I have according to my notes over here. So, yeah, bear in mind, this isn't going to guarantee you radio on airplay. This isn't going to guarantee you the front cover of Rock Sounds or Metal Hammer or whatever, but it will kind of help. This is just stuff that I found both as a musician myself and as a DJ that kind of makes life, it works ish. You know, my bands kind of get a little bit of radio airplay worldwide. I think it's down to the techniques that I'm using. So, and I do know the fact that, you know, Pete's back. So, I hope this has been of use. Any comments, put them below. If you know a band that's interested, or a group of musicians or whatever that may want to have this information, please share this video with them. I'm not going to monetize it. This isn't going to be for making money. This is just for the kind of few tips to help out some fellow musicians and that kind of thing. So I'll be back probably tomorrow with a normal Druids Dozen review vlog. And until then, people, if there's any other kind of aspects of, you know, life in music that you want me to kind of just do a few comment videos on, you know, how to get ready to play gigs, etc., how to promote gigs or whatever. I've dabbled in both, you know, all those kind of things. So, or maybe I'll maybe get some people to kind of guest on this and give me their information. But please let me know in the comments, and I'll also put comments where you can hit me up to send me stuff and music. So until next time, peeps, all the best with your careers, and I'll see you soon. Bye.